and welcome to Game of TV Show, our Game of Thrones recap and review that we do every single week here right on SourceFedNERD. I am Maude. This is me moderating the Game of Thrones show. It never gets old. Joining me on the couch today, we've got Steve Zaragoza.
Hi.
And you're going to be manning the tweets as well, and you can tweet in using that hashtag TV Show, and DJ Wooldridge. Hey,
Hello.
DJ.
I'm going to be manning nothing. I'm going to be manning this end of the couch.
You're already manning pretty well over there.
Thanks.
As a man.
Thanks. I appreciate that.
To know, this is episode 2 of season 6 that we're reviewing and recapping. It was called Home. What were your first initial thoughts after this episode? Because in my notes, I had a lot of exclamation points.
My first initial thoughts were, man, I forgot everything that happened because of that last scene. Like, just forget everything. Who cares? A baby eaten by a dog. We've seen worse. Things like that.
Yeah.
We definitely have seen worse.
Yeah.
But yeah, just Jon Snow coming back.
What's the worst? What's worse?
Then a baby being eaten by a dog.
Just give me the one. I'm just because I'm trying to remember.
What about the child being burned alive?
That's worse.
Yeah.
What else? Let's just go through all the terrible, awful things that have happened on the show.
What about forcing a guy to die by drinking too much wine?
No, that was worse. That was worse.
Burst
That
open
was
or
worse.
something?
No.
I guess a baby being eaten by a dog is pretty.
No, those were pretty bad. I think you're
what about stabbing a baby before it was even born?
That was pretty rough. That was pretty rough.
Happened.
Wait, yeah.
Yeah, that happened. It's a good show.
DJ?
So fun for the whole family. I was bored most of this episode.
What? How?
It was weird. I was more on board with last week's episode. This felt
the first one was more boring.
Not to me.
Really?
Maybe there's something wrong with me. I don't know. The ending. It felt like they were ticking off. Like we're just taking care of things. We're just getting stuff out of the way. Oh, that guy, he's gone. Oh, remember that guy from season 3? Guess we need to get him out of here. And then John's back because obviously we need to get that taken care of.
Hold
cool.
on, if we recall last show, you were like, just bring him back already.
Yeah,
I want to see him
I
go back.
know, and
I
I liked that.
Okay.
But I just it's more table setting. I think the last 2 episodes have been a lot of table setting.
Yep.
Hopefully for like some really cool stuff.
But it's been happening. I think this episode was jam-packed full of amazing things. So much happened, and each thing kind of like upped itself during the course of the show. I was extremely happy and satisfied with this episode. Use that hashtag TV show. We got a few people weighing in on that one.
Yeah, even Denise here at always_whelmed said this episode was great because even though we knew he was going to come back, it was still a riveting, breathtaking, intense episode, 9 out of 10. And I'm sure the he that you're talking about is Tyrion.
There's Tyrion.
We know
maybe the big return she's talking about is Bran.
Yeah.
With a haircut. Who cut his hair
and
in the
well into
treehouse?
Melisandre's really good at it, apparently, so maybe she's...
Okay, maybe she did it. All right.
Also, look, we haven't seen Bran for an entire season, and then we see him now with a 3-eyed raven. The first time we're seeing Max von Sydow. You were incredibly happy about that.
Although, was that recast? That was a recast
It was
situation?
some other old person at the
Why
end
do
of
they
season
keep
4.
doing that?
Listen,
they should stop doing that.
You can get Max von Sydow.
Why don't
you take Max von
but
Sydow?
lock that
Sit
down
down,
early
Steve.
on.
That was my favorite line reading of the whole episode.
No, I mean,
when
look,
he was
I love
talking
Max
about,
von Sydow.
if you swim too far, drowning, the drowning line. I like
yeah. He says the ocean is a beautiful place, but if you stay too long, you'll drown.
Basically, we realize that the 3-eyed raven is teaching Bran everything he needs to know to warg and to time walk as well. This is something that book readers know a little bit about.
Time warg.
Time walk.
Let's do. Oh! You're saying time walk.
He's like walking through facets of time.
Sounded like you said warg.
Warg, like warging.
Well,
like
and he's a warg.
And he's a warg.
So yeah, he's time.
So he
warging.
is time warg.
In a way.
Let's do the time.
There you go. You can have
again.
your joke.
Then it came in.
And it is fascinating that we can see Bran going through different times and in different places. So he's got access to new information and occurrences that he never knew before. Of course, he's attracted to Winterfell and to where his father grew up, and we not just see Eddard doing some sword training, which we see obviously was passed down to Jon Snow using similar techniques and what they learned. But we also
line for line the same thing that Jon Snow said to little bastard kid who we hate, who stabbed him, and fuck that kid.
Yeah, Yeah.
Oh,
I know. I thought he
Ollie,
nearly
yeah.
died this episode. I was like, oop, oop, oop. Oh, because he's still just a
I don't like
kid.
the Bond villain, like, put him in the cells for now situation.
Yeah.
That's totally grounds for them escaping in some way.
We'll need our laser shocks to take care of them.
Yeah, but first, let's go somewhere for an hour and let them do their own thing alone without any guards.
What I really appreciate about Bran choosing this particular moment in time, seeing Ned, is also seeing his older sister, Lyanna.
Mm-hmm. Now,
Lyanna plays a huge role, and maybe the TV show will follow this, but the theory that Lyanna plus R, Rhaegar, who is a Targaryen, created J.
Now,
I just don't know where that came from,
No,
though.
before people lose their minds or like, spoilers, it's a theory. Nobody
theory.
knows. It's a theory. It could be true. It could not be true. We will find out.
There have been a lot of instances, though, that could be leading up to the fact that we'll see more about this in the next episode. A lot of people tweeting about the Tower of Joy that could be happening. So I just love the fact that we see a young Ned. We see Lyanna's actually a person, because Bran was like, oh, my father never spoke about her. And we see freaking Hodor.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, Willis.
Willis, yeah.
Yeah.
What you talking about, Willis? Well, he's usually just talking about Hodor.
He's really. I hope that's all. We never find out why he became Hodor.
Well,
It's
actually,
just like, he could
I
talk
have an
about
interesting
Hodor.
theory, though. What if he, Willis finds out the truth about, who Jon Snow's lineage is, and somebody just beats the hell out of him?
That'd be great.
To try to, kill him so that he doesn't talk, and then he just becomes dumb and can't.
Wow. And then it's like tested.
Here's
It's like,
my
Hodor.
biggest
It's like, well, you'll never
question.
reveal anything.
And also, what if the last thing he hears is Hodor? Like, the guy goes like,
And maybe
Hodor.
that's the secret.
My name is Hodor.
Maybe
or
that's the
something like
secret
that.
to what Jon Snow's. Okay. Here's my big question.
Yep.
How does one come to be partial giant?
Well, is that what
Because-
Hodor is?
Because they say he
What,
has giant's
Hagrid?
blood in him. They say he has giant's blood in him, but
Maybe
we've
she
seen the
banged a
giant.
giant.
We've seen giants on the show. How is that a thing?
The lady banged a giant.
Think about it.
I'm thinking about it. I'm
wish
having
I
a good
wasn't.
time thinking
How
about
does
it.
it happen? Also,
Maybe it
do
was
you-
a small giant, and it was
Yeah.
a big woman.
Little
we
giants.
will ever find
Let's cut to a
out
clip.
what the hell happened to Benjen. He's mentioned
I
now that we see
wish.
Ned fighting Benjen.
Yeah, that
and
was a
like,
sweet
Yeah.
moment
hey,
as
remember
well.
in season 1, he was like, hey, I'm going to go north of Wall.
Yeah.
Remember when Gendry
then-
was like, oh, here, go in a boat and start paddling that way?
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's so many kind of
I'm
loose
hoping
ends.
as we tick off boxes, we come back around to some of these, like, oh, hey.
Well, I think with this fan service that's happening in the shows, we'll get that.
No,
Plus, don't we have 2 more seasons? Or that's it?
two-ish
There's only
seasons,
2 more
yeah.
seasons.
We need to start.
After
So
this
it's
season.
like
After this one.
we're dealing with the good with some meaty stuff right
Yes.
now.
Yeah.
which I'm happy about. Moving
Yeah.
over to King's Landing, we see a very forlorn-looking Cersei, who is not allowed to leave the Red Keep because her son, King Tommen, has said, don't go to Marcella's funeral, stay where you are. What do you guys think about this dynamic that's happening with Tommen kind of losing all sense of power, and he's kind of crumbling under the pressure?
Because he's a
He's a boy.
Yeah,
he's
a
a tiny boy. And I
Little
love
boy?
that moment when he's a Lee boy. And I do love that moment when he's just kind of like, yeah, I should have told them to kill all those religious dudes, and I should have told them to save you and do all that.
Should have waged a war.
Yeah, I should have waged a war. But that's a stupid idea. I was just thinking the result of that would be real bad because a bunch of people would die, including maybe even him.
Yeah.
So
He's not equipped for that at all.
Yeah, and he's not impulsive like Joffrey was, which is good. He at least has a heart.
What is the solution to this?
I don't know. They're
the Faith
terrifying.
Militant conundrum. I like the High
The
Sparrow
birds, what are they
letting his evil show a little bit, like his evil mastermind show. Like, hey, we don't have homes and stuff, but when we band together, we rule. We
Oh,
can
yeah, I
conquer
love
kingdom.
that. We
It's
don't
like,
have
oh,
money,
You
we
are a
don't have
bad guy.
Yeah,
But when we band together, we can take down an empire.
an empire. Yeah.
So if you're saying that just tearing down their church and all that stuff would not work, I wonder what do you do with this?
Well,
point?
Targaryen, recently, when the High Sparrows were initially in power, they were in power for hundreds of years, and it was the Targaryens that ended that ruling.
With dragons?
Maybe because they had dragons.
Brute force.
Can you
I don't
imagine?
know. I mean,
Step down religion. I've got dragons.
Yeah.
That'll do it.
I don't know. These guys, they're powerful. They're very powerful, and there's a lot of them.
Did you also notice though that Jaime confessed to pretty much every crime?
Yeah, that's what I
he'd
thought.
ever done.
That's why
and they
I
were like,
thought-
"Oh well, bygones be bygones."
Well, that's why I thought all those guys came in, because I was like, oh, Jamie's about to get thrown in jail, because he totally confessed all of that. Right
Well, I think
then
that's
and
the
there.
point, isn't it? You have to confess to your crimes, and there he is just confessing his little head
Yeah,
off.
but they didn't address that at all. They were
No.
just like, we're just here to scare you and show you how powerful we are. Bye-bye.
And they did.
That's it.
Yeah.
Or maybe
they're dealing
just...
with one person at a time, because even the High Sparrow was like, we'll deal with Tommen too.
He's infuriating now because he's like, he's got best interest at heart, but he's like, oh well, I actually fear as well.
Well, I like it though, because everybody forgets about how the Lannisters are shitheads.
Yeah.
Like, and everybody's just like, oh, like, I feel bad for Jaime, I feel bad for Cersei, but they've done some very terrible shit in this show.
Mm-hmm.
And I believe a comeuppance is in order. Like, there needs to be some sort of retribution for the terrible shit they've done.
But the thing
some would argue that like Jaime losing his hand and Marcella dying and all that stuff is part of that.
It's weakening them,
Sure,
and it's making them feel and accept that they're not, indestructible. But I think what the theme of this season so far is that the Lannisters realize that they have to stick together. They don't have Tywin, who's like the power force who just gets shit happening.
They don't have Tyrion.
They are weak and they are losing, and I think that's what Jaime's realized. He's like, I need my sister, you need me. And Tommen, you need to listen to your mama.
Mountain.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, but Franken Mountain is just like all those guards in that area that were like, sorry, like King's orders, you can't leave this tower.
Yeah.
Like, those guards could have maybe killed him. Like, that guy, he probably would have done
what's already dead.
He probably would have done a big dent there or whatever, but like someone would have been like head cut off moment, and that would have been that probably.
Who do you think's going to take on Franken Mountain? Somebody's going to take
None
him
of
down.
them did. They were like
dragon.
shaking straight away. Now, the fact that Robert Strong is a key part in this, I love the fact that he's regulating King's Landing. If there's any rumors being spread about someone like
When
Cersei.
he smashes that guy's head in.
He literally
I love it.
pushed half his head into a wall.
Yeah.
Just a bully. He's just a bully now.
And it was just effortless.
I think the Mountain was kind of like that before, right? He was like, when anyone was talking shit.
He was always Cersei's little,
Yeah, he was always crushing heads.
Yeah,
Is Franken Mountain stronger than the Mountain?
Yeah, because he's
now
an
he's
amalgamation.
undead. He doesn't have any.
Seems like it.
Qyburn's been working on him. So it was like the basis of Mountain, but he's been experimented with other parts and other dead bodies.
And adding all sorts of alchemy shit, too.
Yeah.
Who knows what he's got going in there.
Anytime you see kind of his eyes through his helm, I'm like,
I love it. Yeah.
But one of my things that I wanted to see in this episode was Robert Strong in action, and that's what we got. And in the best way. And did you see that GIF that's going around where it's just
oh yeah, that was great.
over and over again? Yeah.
That guy was great too. It was like a Monty Python scene. I pull my dick out and I walk it around. Yeah, it was pretty funny.
It feels like they're trying to emphasize humor a little bit more this season.
A little
with these
bit,
two
yeah.
episodes.
Well, I mean, that's something the book doesn't really have a lot of. The books weren't, jokes first, questions later thing.
Yeah. And then Tyrion's like, that's what we do. I make fun of the eunuch, and then you make fun of dwarves.
I don't make dwarf jokes.
Well, you think about it. You think it. Doesn't count.
Let's
Tyrion?
head over to Marine, actually, because there was a really, really funny scene with, the dickless jokes.
Yeah, it's pretty good.
Grey Worm's just like,
Yeah, hey, man.
Yeah, no, cool, man.
Oh, yeah. Well, Grey Worm, I guess they did it themselves when they did it, right? Like when
I think
they themselves?
they had to kill a puppy that they were looking after for months or a year or whatever, and then they had to kill the dog.
What do you mean?
Afterwards.
Really?
That was their rite of passage to become an Unsullied. Yeah, so you could never love anything.
Whoops.
Fun.
Sorry, that went to a dark place.
Let's go back to cutting dicks off.
Let's go babies being eaten by dogs.
Yeah, let's do that.
Well,
Newborn babies.
we realised that running Marine, we've only really got Varys and Tyrion, who are like the brains and the mastermind. Varys gathers the secret and the intel, and that is that Slavers Bay is going back to the slaves and that Marine is falling big time.
Yeah.
Turns out all that stuff that we thought was like wasting time and Marine is now falling to shit anyway. So it really was a big old waste of time.
Super waste of time.
And Tyrion's like, well, what do we need? We need those dragons that are sitting in a cave that are getting kind of cranky.
But they're dying because they're not eating.
Yeah.
They're going to die, and they're going to be like stunted. Like you keep a fish in a tiny tank and it won't grow to be a big size.
That's science, kids.
That is just science.
Yeah.
And I love the way that they applied that to dragons too. And I thought that was really cool.
Well, yeah, and this fact that the last dragons weren't
Yeah, they were
bigger
like
than
smaller,
cats. It's like
yeah.
that's interesting.
Yeah.
It's like that's something.
Yeah, if you kept them in little dungeons and locked up, then
Where
of
did
course.
these ones come from that they're so big.
Well, they weren't kept in a dungeon.
Yeah,
while
but
they
like
were being
where
born or
were the
whatever.
eggs kept that they were part of a generation?
All
of
I know is
bigger
that they're a
dragons?
gift for Khaleesi.
Yeah, they were
Didn't
just.
Jorah give them the gift? Who gave the gift?
No, I think it was the whatever. It was the,
Oh, maybe it was
somebody.
Jorah.
Jorah
Jorah
presented
brought
it.
it or something. Yeah.
But I like that when Tyrion was talking about how dragons might be as smart as humans,
Yes.
which made me think that maybe Drogon's just an asshole.
Yeah.
We're assuming that dragons will just eat kids and eat deers and shit. Like maybe Drogon's just a jerk.
Or he's just like playing on the fact that nobody realizes they're smart. So he's just like, fuck it, I'm just gonna fuck with everybody.
Yeah. I'm just gonna eat little kids.
I think they're getting too big and they need the sustenance, and they'll take whatever they can get.
Although that moment with Tyrion and that tear-jerking
the dragon
story,
whisperer.
That story was fantastic. I loved it. I loved every minute of that little story. He wanted a dragon. Everybody laughed at him.
Yeah.
And I think that's, you constantly hear about how Tyrion was picked on.
Yeah.
And that's definitely like a lot of foreshadowing for, it was foreshadowing when he killed Tywin or whatever his name was.
Yep, Tywin Lannister.
But I feel like there's still a lot of anger in him from his early days of being made fun of as a dwarf and such.
Yeah, that's why he's not ever going back to King's Landing and he killed his father. Yeah.
Is he getting a dragon? Is one of those dragons going to be
I don't know, but they'll respect him, and I think that's pretty badass.
No.
And I also thought, a little easy to get out of those chains. Am I right?
Yeah, just
like
Tyrion's little tiny hand just pulling this pin. Yeah.
That's all I had to do, just I had an itch.
Yeah, it's like dragon could just get one nail in there and you're done.
Could sneeze violently and it's all of a sudden free. Yeah.
Did they go? I'm confused about because they went back into the shadows. Are they?
Because they were chained up, so that would be a hallway out. And
in the back?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, because
they
they
just
can't
went out the back.
they can't escape through that tiny little.
No.
So now, does he?
They're free.
And
they're gonna find Mama.
Gonna pop in his DVD of How to Train Your Dragon and figure out how to like.
Yeah. No, he seems pretty.
No, they're gonna rescue Dany from the Dothraki camp. Are you guys kidding? That's what's gonna happen.
Yeah, that's definitely.
They're gonna be like, Mama,
and they're gonna
like,
eat a bunch.
Yeah.
Well, because right now
and they'll be like, "Whoa, dragon, bow down.
No.
You have all of us. Blah blah blah. Marine. Blah blah blah.
Oh, that's
Westeros,
totally what's gonna happen. Then she's gonna have another badass moment where she didn't actually do anything and relied on her dragons and everybody else to do something.
Something
cool.
that I have noticed, like season 1 to about 4 or so, they would always finish with Daenerys because she was always like the big moment of every episode.
Yeah.
Now it's the wall, and I kind of love that shift in the dynamic. Okay, moving on. Bravos. This is another really quick moment that we've had with Arya. We get it nice and fast. I love that they're not dwelling on it. She's blind. She's a beggar. She's again playing a role. She gets tested with fighting, and then Vakar comes in, and he's like, do you want a meal?
Well, we have to talk about her getting her ass kicked yet again.
Yeah.
Like that
we don't.
looks like
I don't think.
insane. Like she's already pretty wounded.
Yeah.
And then she's getting smacked in the face with a wooden stick.
A lot.
Like
repeatedly.
That's like, who wouldn't at least be knocked out by that?
I know,
like,
and it's really kind of masochistic the way that she's, keeps going back to get fought over and over again. And then when she has an out given to her for a meal, a place to sleep, for it to be over, and for her to have her sight back, if she just says her name and she says the girl has no name, then he's like, boom, test complete.
Yeah.
So
done.
Considering these tests are all about like, oh, you don't have any identity anymore. By the time Arya reconnects with the main cast, will she not be Arya anymore?
Well,
like effectively, will she be dead?
Assume any identity.
So will like Sansa and Jon never know what happened to Arya just because by the time they meet her, she's got.
I have a feeling that her allegiance to this no-face god or whatever, it only goes as far as learning the abilities and then gaining those skills.
So basically,
like,
she's
I feel like
Batman.
when it comes down to
she's just learning the skills and then
I think
bail
so.
out.
I'd like to think so because she hid Needle at the dock or whatever. I have a feeling she's just going to be like, you know what? I'm learning these skills. I'll fucking go along with this shit. Then I'm going to get Needle and I'm going to keep doing I'm going to go down my list.
Forget how she came in touch with this power. She saved Vakar's life, and he said, in return, I will give you 3 names. 3 names, and I will kill these people. And the way that he assassinated them was so effortless that I think that to her, that is an extreme kind of power that she can only harness if she gives everything towards it.
The mountain's on her list. What if she takes out Franken Mountain?
Ooh, I like that.
Arya v. Franken Mountain.
I like that.
Dawn of Justice.
I mean, I just think it would be...
Maybe.
Maybe.
Oh, the Hound's great. We didn't see him die. We didn't see him die.
Didn't see Stannis die.
No.
We didn't see Stannis die.
Yeah, but everybody talked
also,
about him dying later.
But also Brienne like lifting her sword up like that. Like that's not coming down without a fatal blow, I don't think.
Has she missed yet?
No, she hasn't. I don't think she will. I also just feel like how heart-wrenching would it be if Arya does eventually run into like Sansa or Jon now, and it's just like she's not Arya, she's somebody else. Like that's so that's so heart-wrenching, but very George R.R. Martin. So like maybe that is where they're going with it.
What would you sacrifice to have that kind of power? you know.
Not anything. When he's running down his list, we could get your eyes back if you say your name. Oh, my name is Arya.
Yeah.
Please give me my eyes back. I'm out. I'm
Do you
done.
think he would give her
Probably
eyes back
not.
if she had said that? No, he'd be like, no, you fucked up.
You
You're mine
failed.
now.
You failed.
Yeah,
You bugger
done.
up.
Bye-bye.
Yeah, for sure. And so she's done everything she needs to do.
Plus, she's
and
already fucked up so many times.
she's learning.
Yeah.
She's young.
She's a baby.
She's doing far better than I ever would have. Okay, moving on. Let's go to Winterfell now. Oh man, did she go down in Winterfell? This is where Roose Bolton is. The last episode, Roose made it very, very clear to Ramsay, his bastard son that was given lordship. As soon as I get a true heir, I have no purpose for you. And so obviously this is in the back of Ramsay's mind big time. So when Bolton says that his wife, Fat Lady Frey, gives birth to a boy. Hey, he chose Fat Lady Frey because whatever he was
Fat
given.
Walda or whatever.
Walda, because he said however much the woman weighs is how much gold he'll get. So it was a strategic move. He goes, I want the fat one.
It's spelled P-H-A-T, DJ.
Okay,
He got a lot of gold from that consummation. So. But there's a moment here where, Ramsay finds out he has no point anymore of living. And so he does what any asshole would do to survive, kills his dada.
Yeah, Emma at YouTube Crazy said, after thinking I couldn't hate Ramsay more, this episode happened.
What did you guys, because when I first heard the stab sound, for a moment, I'm like, how interesting would it be if Roose killed Ramsay?
I wanted that to happen more than anything.
Just because it would have been more unexpected.
Oh, this is really good, too. Frank Cruz at Fully Grown Child said, I understand why Ramsay killed his brother, but do we really need more reasons to hate him? We get it. He's super evil.
And that's why I kind of thought it would be interesting if it was Roose, because it's like, we know this is just more Ramsay being sadistic. And it's like, okay, we can get it.
The thing is, though, Roose is incredibly strategic. Everything, he doesn't feel anything, and he makes despicable decisions. But at the end of the day, it's towards a purpose. He has that Tywin aggression when it comes to playing the Game of Thrones. Ramsay doesn't have that.
No.
So what Ramsay's done with this one, killing off not only his father, but also his father's bride and heir, the Freys are gonna come in hard when they find out.
But also, this show has kind of a pattern of impulsive, dangerous people killing smart, intelligent, strategic people.
Yes.
And I feel like it's happened so much to the point where you're like, okay, we get it. The dumb people survive in the Game of Thrones, or
not
the
necessarily
impulsive.
dumb.
The ruthless ones,
Yeah.
the very evil ones. Yeah, even though we've seen a lot of them die, but I feel like we needed Roose out of the way so that Ramsay could then go attack the wall,
Which
because
is what he
Roose
wants to
wasn't
do
going to have
because of
that.
Sansa. And he realizes he has absolutely no title or any kind of claim over Winterfell unless he has Sansa.
Yeah,
so
he's
that's
just obsessed with getting Sansa back.
Well, he has to.
So we're definitely setting up a Snow v Snow
Battle of the Bastards.
Yeah.
I'm excited for that.
I mean, come on. If Jon kills Ramsay, that would be one of the most satisfying moments in this show.
You know what would be more satisfying for me? If Sansa kills Ramsay.
Oh, sure. Yeah, that'd be great.
I would much
I
rather
just want
see
Ramsay
that.
to die.
You want a
honestly.
Jabba Leia moment?
Yeah.
Just chokes
him out, and then maybe has him eaten by dogs while he's alive.
Yeah.
Cuts his dick off for fucking Reek.
Theon's got
Cuts his dick off and then sews it onto Theon.
Oh my god!
And then Melisandre does magic so it works again.
Yeah. Yay.
But she has to give a spa bath first.
And then Sansa and Theon hook up.
Yeah.
I'm into it.
I don't know if I need that.
I'm into it.
So let's go over to Sansa happening in the north. Obviously, Brienne has sworn services to Sansa. And finally...
She would die for Sansa, which she probably will.
Oh.
But we finally get Brienne telling Sansa that Arya is alive and that she's okay, which is something that Sansa hasn't known for seasons.
Well,
years
okay
now.
is a stretch.
Oh, this is good.
Just
yeah.
that
But Brienne doesn't know that.
Abram Bogale at Abram and Cheese says, since Ramsay is king and Jon is back, we can finally announce the Battle of the Bastards 2K16. It's no Clegane Bowl, though?
Hold on, it's
Clegane
no.
Bowl?
Mountain
Bowl?
versus
Oh, right.
Yeah.
The Battle of the Bastards. You want to see it?
I'd put money down.
You were trying to
Snow's
figure
gonna
out
win
a
for
fun
sure.
Snow
fun
has
for
to
that?
win. They can't kill him again.
Oh.
Well, I mean, look, isn't there that one guy who
Was brought back,
who worships the
50
fire
times.
god or
Yeah.
whatever? Yeah, and he just keeps coming back and back and back and back and back.
Yep.
Maybe that's what
Beric
happens with Jon Snow.
Dondarrion.
No.
But you need to have the priest. What's his name again? Theros. I always going to get that wrong.
Yeah.
I'm like Thanos. No.
No, Thor.
Thor.
No,
Thanos.
wait.
Yeah, that was a Thor spot. Don't go there.
What did you guys think of Reek leaving?
I understand that he's been broken down to nothing and that he doesn't feel like he has any purpose, and that like by helping Sansa he just feels overwhelming guilt the entire time, and that he expects Snow just to kill him when he rocks up. Oh, sorry, kicked you out of your family's estate. So going back home, name of the episode, it's probably the only thing that he can do. But it's
what's
sad.
home to him? Is it the Iron Islands?
Yeah. He's a Greyjoy.
Yeah, I get that, but like maybe he's gonna go back and try and screw up Ramsay's shit.
Nah, he's going back to the Iron Isles. Otherwise, why would they bring in the Kingsmoot?
That just felt sudden. I thought I liked Reek being part of Sansa's little enclave of.
Me too. I thought it was like a way for him to like make it up
Have a
little
purpose.
bit.
Yeah.
Listen, there's no way that I can repay you for all the shit I've done.
So I'm just gonna leave.
I'm just gonna leave.
Well, there must be something that they're planning for Reek.
Yeah.
For old Reek Theon.
Yeah,
and so we'll see what happens, I guess.
I'm actually kind of relieved with how they handled the Iron Isles. Like, this was probably one of my least. I just didn't want this to happen.
What, you didn't like the?
Well, just reading in the books, it's just arduous and it's drawn out.
The Kingsmoot. I was hearing that the
personally.
Kingsmoot got every book reader was so excited they thought the Kingsmoot wasn't going to happen, and now it is going to happen.
So
and now
what
they
is that
once
again?
can lord something over us that have not read the books.
So what is that with the old man on the bridge?
Yeah,
So that's Balin Greyjoy, and that's Theon and I want to say Asher, Yara's father.
Which felt so like Telemundo, like novella to me.
Right.
I'm your brother that's been gone forever, and you have not seen me in years. Like it just seemed
it was beautifully.
No, it was a great scene. Great scene.
With the
Bridge.
rain and everything, but it was very expository. It was
Yes.
like, hey, you remember Balin from
It
3
just felt like
seasons
a
back?
novella,
Well, he's back. Also, remember that brother we've never seen? Of course you don't. We've never seen him. So now why get Balin describing who he is?
Exposition.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
I do like the metaphor, you know, that he's the storm. If you guys have watched my Game of Thrones Religions 101 breakdown, you'll know that it's the drowned god is always at war with the storm god. So to have the king of the Iron Isles, who's pretty much represented by the drowned god, to have his brother come in going, say he's the storm, and then threw him overboard, that was kind of symbolic for me. I liked that.
So he thinks he's a god?
Yeah.
He is a god?
He's not a god.
He thinks he's a god.
But they all
Don't
kind of
they
think they're
all?
gods
Yeah.
because they're drowning, each other to bring them back.
Also, with now Melisandre just finally getting her world rocked, I don't know if I needed another. And we've got the Faith Militant. I don't know if we needed another religious zealot person.
And it's also kind of like we also have another huge leader. Like this is the third in 2 episodes. Someone who's in charge of an area. Roose Bolton, Prince Doran. Like they're all
Yeah.
But I
for
wonder
the
if
usurpers to rise.
so Theon is gonna go back to the Iron
So his
Isles,
sister
though.
Yara has always supported him. Always
Yeah.
tried to bring him back. It failed
I
because
can't
he was
get it
weak.
out of my head though when he finger blasted her on the
Yeah,
horse.
that's something.
Can't get it out of my head.
Let's not cut to a clip.
I know I can't. Let's not cut to a clip, but it's in my head, so I'm already cut to a clip. But I guess so. He's gonna eventually head back to the Iron Isles, and
Yeah.
then this guy is
So
gonna be there.
the reason why the Iron Isles is important, even though it's a little like kind of dull and like how could they have gone around it? Why is it so important that this has to be in the show? Because the Iron Isles have ships. Lots of freaking
Ooh,
ships.
And John might need those.
And Yara, who's trying to be in the Kingsmoot to become the first queen, has said, let's stop trying to take over land. We tried to take over the Mott, and guess what? Everyone there is dead. So we are not land people. We are the ocean people. So let's use what we do and sail down that coast and cause havoc or help someone that needs to be helped.
More importantly, Marine needs ships.
Yeah, they sure do. Yeah.
Ding. That's why the Kingsmoot is important. And I think Yara
Also important for this episode in particular, at Melisandre's lowest ebb, feeling like she's powerless, the last leech worked. The last Dick Leech magic kill all the rulers that are against Stannis. That was the last ruler of the Battle of the Five Kings. He was the last one left, and now he's out.
Hold on, who was that?
Remember,
Balin.
Melisandre did her whole leech thing. All
Yeah.
the things opposing Stannis will die, and then in quick succession, Robb was out, Joffrey was out. Boom.
Yeah.
The last one
you're
was
sa-
Balin.
Balin
And so
Greyjoy.
proof, even though Melisandre's all bummed about her magic not working,
Well, after
It's
what
still
she
in
did
effect.
in this last episode, her faith is going to be like, dude, she's going to be the Pope all of a sudden. She's going to be doing it. She's
Yeah.
going to be way okay. Her confidence is back.
fire god Pope.
Yeah, she's going
Wow,
to
do
get
you
it
reckon
back.
she'll have to be necrophiliac to kind of use that power?
See, that's the thing. Like, this Melisandre is almost like OP at this point.
Yep.
Because, like, there's almost nothing she can't do.
Well, don't worry, it will Davos will find out about what happened to Shireen,
and then but bringing back Jon,
I don't think that will matter to Davos.
maybe not.
No.
Maybe not. Yeah.
So let's talk about the things that went down at the wall. This is where Alistair went, knock, knock, time's up, get out or die.
Which, by the way, how much time has passed?
I guess a day. A
Okay.
whole day.
All right.
Yeah. Everyone is so on board with Davos, and I'm one of them. I think that
Love Davos.
he is using his strength. It's like Tyrion. Tyrion goes, I'm
Yes.
never going to win a fight,
Yeah.
but I can win a war with words. And Davos is literally like your health potion or like your energy drink.
Yeah.
He's like, this is why it needs to happen. This is why you are the one to do it. And he inspires hope. And that's what's happening.
He's kind of like a Ser Jorah too, in
Yeah.
a way, because he's very he's very smart. I mean, Jorah obviously is in his own mess right now.
Yeah.
But Davos
But
is just
noble but pragmatic.
yes,
Yeah.
yeah. And I'm glad there's still sprinkles of characters like that in this show. But Jorah's he's like, all right, let's do this. And of course, that the wildlings are coming, because you're like,
didn't necessarily
really? Because that's
know that.
exactly what they talked about in the last episode.
I know they sent out. I can't remember his
What's
name.
his
With
name?
the chin. I
Yeah.
thought it was Pip.
the
but I don't think
badass,
it's Pip.
the
Yeah,
guy
yeah.
who should be the new Lord Commander.
Yeah, yeah.
actually.
Yeah. So he
Did that
Tormund.
scene when
Yeah.
when Wildlings came in, cool giant smashes that guy with the
That was
crossbow?
fun.
And before that happens, everybody's the wall guys are just see the Wildlings coming like, oh, okay, well I guess it's like there's not.
Well, because they're fucked.
Yeah,
They're fucked.
they realize that.
Well,
They're
plus
like,
well, what's his name is like, attack or whatever. And
Alistair.
then Alistair says attack, and then they're like instantly like there's a brutal death.
No.
And then they're
He
just
did like the
look, you're
Loki
outnumbered.
Hulk
Yeah.
kind of thing.
Yeah, they're just
going.
outnumbered.
Yeah.
I mean, you just I don't care how like.
So the Night's Watch has only got a couple of hundred, or not even 200, I
Yeah,
don't think, in
there-
there. And then Jon actually, when he went to Hardhome and rescued wildlings, I think he rescued almost like thousands.
Yeah.
So they are severely outnumbered. And I think that they realized Alistair realized as soon as he took Jon out of the equation, he would have to deal with these wildlings who were all coming to take over Castle Black. They were outnumbered, and they have giants.
You can't. I think that there is an interesting example of you can't build a team out of disloyalty.
Yes.
Like you can't start off your rule by being disloyal and then expect everybody to have your back when shit hits the fan almost immediately.
Jamie the Kingslayer, like
Yeah.
he was wearing that title for so long.
I would
Yeah.
love it. They talk about the other parts of the wall. I would love it if there's a part at the end of the wall that has no idea any of this is happening.
And just sees this giant walking up. It's like,
No,
oh,
they're like
okay.
miles away and they're just doing their thing, watching the wall. And then one day it's like, well, you need to go check the other end. Okay, and they gets there and there's wildlings and
Yeah,
giants, and
Jon's
Jon
dead.
came back from the dead. And like, what the hell has been going on?
That's a big wall. What did you guys think about the shift that we saw with the wall? Like, are you renewing hope here? Are you glad?
I'm into it. I love that they were like, who was it that said like there hasn't been like wildlings in this.
Alistair.
Yeah,
That was
and
his
then they're
whole
like-
argument.
Yeah, but then
We've
someone,
been fighting against them for hundreds of years. That's what the watch is for.
right, but then someone's answer to it was like until you came along or
Yeah.
something, and that was like so cool.
Yeah.
I was like, yeah, you're done, dude. It's out with the old and in with the new.
Yeah.
What about Ollie? We thought he was going to get his throat slit by Tom
I
and
think somebody
Rattle.
should give Jon a sword and let him stab all the traitors and be like, traitor, you're dead. Traitor,
I mean,
you're
I
dead."
just hope Jon doesn't puss out, and like, I mean, everybody's really concerned about what Jon's personality is going to be like now.
I mean, we see what happened with Mountain, the Robert Strong, who's
Yeah.
come back I know people don't like it, we're talking about the books, but another character that was brought back in the books
Well,
changed completely.
here's
Well,
the thing.
and there
we
was
can-
that guy who was brought back really quick. Sorry,
Yeah,
by
no,
the
it's fine.
fire god.
He seemed fine. There you go, Beric
no, but
Dondarrion.
he said that like every time I come back, a part of me is chipped away.
Yes.
Yeah.
So like, I don't know. I mean, maybe there's something to be said about that.
I'm hoping Jon is on his transition to become one of what the best characters have in the show, which we talked about, which is noble but pragmatic.
Right.
You know what I mean? Where you get, and that seems to become with age because you talk about Davos, you talk about Jorah, and Ned when he was around. Ned could have been a little more pragmatic, but that comes with age, and so I'm hoping we see more of that with Jon. It's interesting to that character you were talking about.
Beric Dondarrion.
No, the one that from the books.
Oh,
I think
yes.
now we have the
It's
explanation.
Lady Stoneheart.
Yeah, why that wasn't in the series, because with the clip, the speed that this show goes, considering it's not 7 years between seasons, it might have been too much to swallow. Like it would have
Oh,
been
it
too
was
much of a
swollen.
tipping of the hand.
Yeah.
So it's like, okay, we'll get one
Yes.
main character that gets to come back from the dead.
Yep.
Which makes me wonder how long they've known this was a thing. The showrunners. because I know George R. R. Martin gave them kind of like
They probably know.
here's sort of what's going down after the most recent
I get
book.
you.
But it's just interesting because they've had to have been planning this by what, season 4?
Well, you got to think about how Melisandre was like making her way to the wall for a while now.
No.
So there's that, at least since the what's his name was attacked in the snow when he had his daughter murdered or whatever.
Yeah, Stannis.
Like since then, they've been making their way to the wall. I feel like.
I think they've known about it since the book has been called The Song of Ice and Fire.
Yeah.
Because he's both Stark and Targaryen, so he is.
Maybe.
Oh, you're still
ice
hoping
and
for
fire.
that.
He
Maybe,
is ice
yeah.
and fire, unless he and Daenerys get together and he is the ice and she's the fire.
That's the theory.
I,
Yeah.
I'm thinking that's what's going to happen. I think Sansa ends up ruling the North.
in Winterfell.
Arya's the.
With whom?
Who cares?
What about Peter Baelish?
With Podrick or
that's
what?
Yeah.
cute.
Yeah.
They'd be happy
Yeah,
together.
why not? I think he's
Why
great.
not?
He's a sweet,
Podrick-
and he's well endowed and good in bed. Remember that?
That's right. He's a tripod.
We had
He
several
puts the-
scenes discussing that.
Pod in
look,
tripod.
I just like that the Starks are finally
Bouncing
having
back.
a good time
Yeah.
right now. Like it's been
The
so
Stark-
bad for the
Stark
Starks.
stock
for so
is
long.
going up.
The Stark stock is going up.
I really want to draw attention to the fact that during the whole, the ritual that Melisandre was performing, she didn't think it would work. They kept cutting back to Ghost, who was underneath, and it was like long shots on Ghost. And I remember watching to see whether Ghost was breathing or if there was a transferring of maybe
Are you
a
worrying
soul.
that Ghost is dead?
No, because he gets up afterwards.
Yeah,
It's
no,
totally
I think
alive.
he's fine.
So
I
don't
think
know
it
what's
was.
going
I
on,
think it was
but
to play
there-
with the fact that Ghost is the first one to realize John was alive.
Gotcha.
I think people that were dedicated to the idea that John warged into Ghost will use this as an excuse to be like, his soul was in Ghost and that's where it came from. I don't think that's
Yeah,
the.
no.
You don't.
Sure,
Do you
whatever.
think
If
that John
makes
will
you
figure
happy.
out that he is a warg and tap into the powers that he can control Ghost eventually?
Nah, I don't need another warg.
Maybe
Well,
not yet. Well, but I mean, I wonder if
Guys,
dying and
because if John and Bran can be wargs and Daenerys is riding a dragon, then boom, you've got 3 dragons.
but
being
if
controlled.
dying and coming back from the dead might have like screwed up those powers a little
Or
bit, maybe.
it could have been a catalyst to get
Could
him
be,
into.
yeah, to activating all that.
Yep.
Potentially.
I don't
need
think he's a
another
green
warg.
seer so much, just a warg.
From Twitter here, Ricardo A. Leon at Ricardo says, kind of wish they waited one more episode to bring back
No, I would've
bring
been
Jon
angry.
Snow back. This season seems a bit rushed so far. It's episode 2. It's okay.
Yeah.
Like I don't want. Like who wants to wait a whole season? Like I feel like that would get so annoying. You'd be like, God, just come on. I don't want to see Jon Snow's cold corpse in that room any longer than we have to. And plus, rotting would set in.
I will say, I think it definitely need to happen this episode. I'm so thankful that it happened this episode. What were the 2 things I wanted?
Yep.
John to come back quickly and
Yep.
succinctly,
Yep.
and no more rape. So far, 2 for 2.
All right. What did you want out of this episode,
But
Steve?
where I was going with that was I thought it might have been cooler. I thought the way they brought him back was a little underwhelming.
Yeah.
Maybe if she did her voodoo, nothing happened. Like, oh shit, we'll have to burn the body. So they set it on fire, and then as the fire's going, he walks out, and you're like,
okay. No.
That would've
The
been
reason why I'm not
amazing.
like I saw someone's tweet here too that was like, if only he'd come out of the pyre or whatever. Like, why did they have to do it that way? I want to see him come out of the pyre. But it was like, here it is right here from Sean. It says, I felt this step for John was obvious. I was rooting for a delayed awakening on the pyre because Targaryen. We've seen it already. Like we already saw. We saw
But we
like.
saw it at the end of season 1.
I know,
And
but
that
like,
would
let's have some
confirm
new
his-
imagery.
Yeah.
But also like, how about some new cool imagery? Like maybe like an icy kind of like coming out of the ice. Maybe I don't know. Who knows? But the way that he was brought back, I agree, was a little like lackluster.
okay. It was the classic.
Well, but also like, did anybody else think? And I saw a tweet here too. Forgive me, I can't find it, but I was looking for it. But there was a tweet that was like, "What does anybody think it was kind of annoying how easily John was brought back?"
Because it's his
like,
destiny.
But I mean, Melisandre's just like, say a couple of words, rub a leaf on you, cut your hair off, and back from the dead.
And all she needed to
fair,
do was
that
bonk
was-
Stannis to birth a baby.
Yeah, but that's like pretty intense. Like that's at least like a physical
What
action.
Steve's saying is he wanted her to fuck the corpse.
Yeah, fuck a corpse. And I wanted her to be old lady Melisandre while she did it too.
Perfect.
So just old lady fucking a corpse.
Views drop considerably.
I agree that it.
Yeah, ratings low.
I don't know. I guess I wanted more. a little bit more. But to be fair, she did a lot more than whatever his face did, Beric Dundar to the other guy. Because literally just like, oh, he's back, everybody. Yay, high fives.
Yeah.
I actually went into this episode not really expecting anything. Like I didn't go in, I went in completely blind, as I've always gone in because I didn't read the books. And
well, that's almost irrelevant now. Almost irrelevant.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, now, but I went in blind as usual, and I was hoping from the beginning of this season that John's resurrection, if it were going to happen at all. And by the way, this episode had a couple of moments where you were like, oh shit, maybe they aren't going to bring John back. Yeah. Maybe he's actually just dead, because they're like, all right, well, we're going to fucking take it. Look, when the wildlings were like, well, let's just put him on the fire. We'll get like a fire going. I was like, oh shit. And then I was thinking like, we can't just leave his corpse rotting there for days or months.
Well, the cold
or
would
whatever.
be slowing it down. It's like being in a fridge.
Yeah, sure. I mean, that helped. But I mean, like literally it was one day we were waiting, like from John's death to John's resurrection. So it was like, I was at least hoping they'd get to that quickly. And in fact, there was even a thought in my head that they would do it right away in the first episode. Yeah. But I guess I'm glad they did it in the second one, because now, come on, guys. For anybody who was like, oh, they brought it back too quick, just think of how badass the rest of the season's going to be.
I'm so excited for it.
I just can't fucking wait. Oh, and here's something I wanted to bring up really quick. There are theories in the subreddit that John's service to the Night's Watch has ended because he died.
Yeah. Yeah, I have a feeling that's why this whole thing happened, was to give him a good excuse to leave the Night's Watch and bone and have babies.
So, which could also
Can he even do that?
Well, you can't do that as a Night's Watchman.
Yeah.
But
No, but can a walking corpse?
well.
But he's not a corpse anymore. He's alive.
Well, okay, hold on.
I didn't see those wounds close.
Well, apparently they will, though. I don't know. But this is all speculation. But another theory online is that due to this discrepancy, the fact that he died and his watch has ended, technically, will he now lead the wildlings and leave the Night's Watch completely? Yeah. Or do you think he'll feel sort of this allegiance to the Night's Watch and stay there anyway?
I still think that because what's going down in Winterfell, it's an immediate threat but it's a small thing out of the big picture. He knows, and he's one of the few that really gets the severity of the White Walkers and their impending takeover. So I think that will be his priority. I think he can't be kept within the confines of Castle Black. And you're right, he could actually band with the wildlings, who also know this threat, and try and build an army and maybe get some motherfucking dragons.
I mean, I feel like he was going to do that anyway, like side with the wildlings, because they had no choice. I mean, who else were they going to band with to fight these fucking White Walkers that are coming? And by the way, these locked up asshole traitors at the Night's Watch, there were some other people in the subreddit saying, I just hope they get to see White Walkers before they meet their demise. Yeah. So that they can truly realize how fucked they were in thinking, ooh, we got to kill Jon Snow because they're fucking we got to kill the ball. All that dumb shit. Yeah. But anyway, interesting thoughts.
We know that now we've seen the Children of the Forest a couple of times, and a little girl was saying to Mira, it's like, you know what, I know you've got cabin fever in, this little hollow where Bran's getting taught everything, but you serve a big part in his destiny, so you have to stick around and be there by his side. What else do the Children of the Forest know? And if they do have a really big grasp on the future events happening, why aren't they coming out and like joining forces and banding against the White Walkers?
Ray Harryhausen skeletons are keeping them back.
Yeah, they're plenty busy with the Ray Harryhausen skeletons. That's a good question, though. I wonder if it's because it seems like there might be kind of like a trading of the mantle a bit with this Max von Sydow guy.
Oh, that Bran might become the new three-eyed raven.
Maybe. I mean,
maybe. But what's Mira's point of that? Because it was her brother who was the seer, the green seer in that one. She just caught frogs with.
Well, I'm assuming Bran is not going to have to stay in the tree. He's going to have to hook up with somebody else, and so somebody's got to escort him from point A to point B.
So she's like the Sherpa guide.
Yeah.
Maybe. Well, okay, yeah. I guess that makes sense. I mean, he's so immobile, though. Yeah. And his warging abilities.
It breaks my heart where he's just kind of leaning there casually.
I know, his model
it's like,
shot.
because he can't move.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I feel like he's going to maybe hone his warging skills a bit. But I wonder if that's the case. If he does stay there and he's just warging the entire time and like going into animals and dragons or what have you, then what would be what's her name's role then?
Yeah.
Like, how would she be helping?
Protecting the body, protecting his body.
Maybe
while
protecting
he's
his
doing that
body.
stuff.
Yeah.
Again, I go back to my guy at the end of the wall that doesn't know any of this is going on, and he comes back with a big battle, and there's White Walkers and dragons and children of the forest, and somebody jettisoning his soul into animals. And you're like, I'm going back to this. I don't know what the
I
hell is
can't help
going
but think
on.
about Samuel Tarly a little bit, and think about how like his friend died, and then was brought back, and like maybe we'll be different, and like who knows, like poor Sam. Like
Still big parts of storylines we have yet to see.
Yeah.
You're right. The Samuel Tarly's little side quest happening over
Yeah.
there. Peter Baelish, we haven't seen a snippet of him
Jorah.
so far.
Well, no, I guess
We've seen Jorah in the first
saw Jorah this season. Oh yeah,
we
yeah.
saw
first
no
one.
Danny in this episode. How did you guys feel about that?
And so I'm okay with it.
Yeah, surprisingly.
I'm okay with it. A lot of Danny in this series.
We don't need to come back to Danny till things are happening.
Yeah. Well, I love the idea. I don't know if that was just your idea. That was like, obviously the dragons are going to come save her from this, like, because remember the reason why they're going to let her go is because she's the widow of a Dothraki.
But then she has to spend her days in like the widow's
some catacomb thing
Yeah.
or something.
Yeah.
But yeah, the dragons are definitely going to rescue her from that.
for shiz. Yep.
So I don't know. I guess let's just get that over with so we can get John kicking ass, I guess.
It would be interesting to see if maybe she can incorporate the Dothraki as a police force within the city she's conquered.
Well, once they see the dragons, I wonder if they'll just have this kind of like immense respect for her and fear, and maybe they'll join her
Yeah, but do you
side.
think the Dothraki would be like, yeah, we want to support your cause of not having slaves, even though they keep
Yeah.
a lot of slaves?
Yeah, I don't know. I think it definitely feels like the show's building up to literally every people group versus the White Walkers.
That's
Yeah.
It's like every people
I think
group
that
was-
is what it's building up
Yeah.
to, yeah.
So highlights of the episode. What were yours?
The man's head being crushed against the wall with Zombie Mountain. Jon Snow coming back from the dead, obviously. Anything with Ghost. I just love Ghost.
Yeah.
Ghost is dope.
But yeah, I mean, honestly, just Jon coming back, those breaths of air and like just him coming back up, just really kind of like, there's so much excitement there. I was watching with two people who don't really care about the show at all. And I was just like, I wanted to kind of enjoy this collective energy freak out with everybody, even though we knew it was coming more or less, even though I felt like maybe there were some moments where they kind of went the other way with it, but we knew it was going to happen. It was still exciting, and I think that made the whole episode so cool.
What do you rate it out of 10?
I'll give it a 9 out of 10.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
It was a solid episode. Although maybe more like an 8 out of 10, because a 9 out of 10 would be that fucking crazy battle episode.
Hard
the wall
home.
battle
Hard home.
episode and the White Walkers
Yeah.
episode.
Okay.
Tens.
That's why I think this episode's a little bit slower. It's like, we got to save money for later in the season. For me, favorite parts were the beginning and the end. John coming back and the stuff with Bran, seeing the past.
Yep.
That was actually, I think that was actually my favorite part of the episode because
I have to agree.
Because I wanted John to come back. I'm glad they did it shortly. The way it happened, I thought could have been more epic.
Triumphant. Yeah.
Whereas the stuff with Bran was really interesting and it was cool seeing that again. So those are my two favorite parts. I think I'd give it probably an 8 because it's still even a slower episode of Game of Thrones or an episode that might not be for you is still a really well constructed episode of television.
Right.
Yep. I agree. I think going back in time now, like we haven't really time jumped before.
Yeah.
Usually in series like Arrow, there's a lot of flashbacks and it's just arduous and awful. I'm loving this. I'm loving seeing Winterfell in its probably the most prosperous days, seeing a young Ned and Benjen and the setup for Lyanna, but also Hodor / Willis and like him talking with Nan.
Yeah.
And be like, Nan. And it's like, no, he's just a stable boy. That was just so wonderful and enriching for me. And then seeing Bran be like, this is where I want to be. I want to get lost in this side of the, my memories or like the visions. I was a big fan of that. A lot of exclamation points in there. And then of course at the end, they really sealed the deal. I'm going to give it a 9, guys.
Cool.
I'm going to give this episode.
Do it.
I'm going to give this one a 9. I was going to get Will in there to give Will's final words, but I think he may be filming a video right now.
He might be filming,
I'm going to guess
Bummer.
there was an orange walker in there.
Yeah. I want to know his theories because they're always so succinct.
That's usually spot on.
Very spot on.
I think there's a sword like Mordaron or something. And I'm like, what?
Yeah.
There we
Oh,
go.
by the way, Davos using Jon's sword was so, it got me right here.
I would have liked to see Davos really like
Yeah, me too.
get to tear it up. Maybe later in the season we'll get to see him
yeah.
fight beside John. I could not be more excited for the idea of Davos and John.
Same.
Yeah, I want
I think
Davos to
they're a good
really
team.
listen. John, let me show you how to be noble, but also interesting and not boring.
Yeah. Wasn't there a guy that was on John's side like that got killed?
The former head of the Night's Watch.
Yeah, that guy.
Yeah.
He was like super. Yeah, that's him.
Yep.
Yeah, he was very
Craster's
cool,
place,
and
yeah.
then he got murdered the fuck by Craster because
Fucking
fuck Craster.
bullshit.
Yeah.
Will, you got a second to say something over here about Game of Thrones?
And
Oh, he
then-
does. Okay, well, get over here.
And then once we're done with that, we'll talk about what we want for next episode.
Yeah,
too.
perfect.
All right, Will's final words.
Will, John's back. How you feel
Look.
about it?
Okay, so John didn't come back until the end. We didn't know about this the entire episode. That's because I know the producers are like, well, we want to save him for the end because we want to save money on that star power.
Yeah.
I heard in the contract he couldn't be in the first 3/4 of the episode because he gets paid $300,000 a second
Is that true?
to be on this.
Is that true?
I'm afraid so.
In the books, the wildlings were supposed to be a part of Jon Snow's journey. He cheated on his wife with 3 of the first wildlings because they came a part of the accomplice. That's what happened to me.
That makes so much more sense now.
Absolutely.
I feel
You're
like.
saying he just didn't go for Ygritte, who was kissed by fire, but he kissed a lot more?
No, Jon Snow actually kissed by fire the first time when he was 12. That's why he's the first one in line to receive the sword of Darthro.
Yeah.
If he hadn't kissed fire at the age of 12 and done it at 16, he would have been too mature, too many pimples on his face. It wouldn't make sense for the show.
I'm curious to find out where you think Ramsay's going in the show, Will. What do you think's going to happen with Ramsay?
We all know that,
Will's
George
getting
R.
really cozy.
Seriously.
I've been told I'm very comfortable.
Definitely. We know George R. Martin chose Ramsay because he was one of the ancient Egyptian princes of darkness.
Yep.
And that is totally
Not the
in line.
apocalypse. That's Ramsay. Yeah, my bad.
Yeah, Ramses. And I know that Ramses, he will not die in this season, but he will be a part of the Purple Wedding during the halfway of next season. I don't mean to spoil anything, but he will be a part of the Purple Wedding.
We have had a purple wedding. Is it not the blue wedding? Maybe a yellow wedding?
The Purple Wedding is the Blue Wedding plus the Red Wedding together.
Well, and really quick, Will, before you go, do you think John will have allegiance to the Night's Watch, or do you think he's going to join the Wildlings and form an army with them?
Here's the thing about the Wildlings and the Night's Watch. They're both the same thing. They both believe in the same things, but they come from different perspectives, so they'll never, ever agree with each other.
It's true.
There is no right, there is no wrong, there is no sword of Darthro without the both of them coexisting as once as good and evil.
Yeah.
Thank you, Will.
Wow.
It's beautiful.
Will, well done.
What do you think is going to happen in the next episode?
Who knows, man? Let's watch.
Let's watch indeed.
Sounds good.
How much would it blow your mind if in season 7 they're like the sword of Darth
And the Purple Wedding.
The Purple Wedding. Brain would explode and leak out your ear.
Well, make sure you jump onto Twitter, use that hashtag TV Show. What do you want to see in the next episode? And give us a little bit of time on Sunday night when watching and tweeting at us, because we like to watch it at our own leisurely pace. So maybe don't spoil it for us. That would be amazing.
Yeah, please don't.
But guys, thank you so much for joining me. Recapping episode 2 of season 6, Home for Game of Thrones TV Show. That is us done. We'll see you this time next week. Take care. Goodbye.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
What do we say to the god of death?
Fuck
Next
you.
week.
Oh.
Same time, same.
We live in a golden age of superhero movies, where even ideas that once seemed crazy to studios, like that little talking raccoon walking tree movie, are not only making it to the big screen, but blowing us away and making bank at the box office. However, Hollywood's history with capes is downright weird, and there are a ton of truly strange movies that never made it to theaters, and I'm not talking about Magic Cumberbatches.